we're going to do is we're going to talk about a new word. And this new word we're going to talk about today is perspective. 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 Emma. Do you have some background knowledge on perspective? Okay. Would you like to share with us? Awesome.
Perspective means to be aware.
To be aware of what?
To be aware of other people and to be respectful.
Okay, so perspective means, you think perspective means to be aware of what? What am I aware of?
Other people.
Other people. Okay, how am I aware of other people? Okay, so we're going to keep learning. So what I think is great about this is Emma already has some background knowledge about that, and Eliana has something to share too. So we already know that perspective means being aware of other people, but what are we going to be aware of when we think about other people? And also, why is this important? Okay, why do we need to know about this big word perspective? We need to know about this word perspective because it's going to help us get along. It's going to help us understand one another, and it's going to help us get along with each other and even problem solve too, okay? So let's go ahead and stand up and let's move out of our circle. And perspective is very similar to this, meaning to be aware of other people and to understand that two people can have the same information, but they can have different perspectives. They can think something differently about something even though they have the same information or they have the same experience. So I'm going to ask you to solve my riddle. I'm going to say a riddle, and I want you to tell me by raising your hand, what do you think I'm thinking of? Okay? I'm thinking of something white and fluffy. I'm thinking of something white and fluffy. What might I be thinking of? Gael?
Pillow.
Emma?
Bunny.
Okay. Write these ideas. Pillow. A sheep? Okay. Sheep. Bunny. Alessandra?
A cotton ball.
Manolo? Okay, so y'all share the same thinking, right? Y'all have the same perspective, right? And that's great. However, some of us are thinking something different, okay? So my clues were that the object is white and fluffy, right? So are all of these things white? Could a pillow be white?
Yeah.
Sheep?
Yeah.
Bunny?
Yeah.
Cotton ball cover could be white. A cow could be white. A puppy could be white. And a horse could be white. Are all of these things fluffy?
No.
Okay, so we have some same information. And what does that word fluffy mean? Do we know what that word fluffy means, right? So maybe our background knowledge and perspective about what fluffy means can change our information that we share with one another in our thinking. But all of these answers are great, right? There's no right or wrong answer. This is your perspective. You're thinking of different things, different ideas, given the same information that I gave you. So let's look at these pictures that I have for you and see if some of these match your thinking. A bunny, right? Somebody thought of a bunny. Clouds. Clouds. Are they white and fluffy? They can be. Some of our same thinking. Whipped cream. White and fluffy. So all of these things are white and fluffy. And your ideas were great too. There's no right or wrong answer right now. It was just to help us understand perspective, and you all have different perspectives, don't you? So what I heard though is when somebody had an idea, somebody said, huh? Right? Now, earlier Emma said respect, right? To be aware of what somebody's other people, and she also used that word respect, which is really important too. Because what we want to be aware of is that it's okay to have different perspectives. And when we have different perspectives, we need to be respectful of that. So for most of our ideas, we were respectful, but just be aware of that word respect when we think about perspective too. Because it's going to help us get along with one another, right? And even problem solve, right? Thank you. I saw Alessandra do this. She knew something about this book, right? If you've read this book before, we know that good readers reread, and we're going to reread this story for a specific purpose. The reason for us reading the story is to think about perspective. And as we read this story, the mice, we see have a different perspective from one another. And they have different emotions as they share their perspectives with the other group of mice. So I want you to keep in mind perspective. What are you going to remember? Perspective. Let's say that together. Perspective. The title of the story is 7 Blind Mice. What does that word blind mean? Blind. 7 blind mice. One?
That means they can't see
Right.
good.
Right, yeah, they have trouble seeing, or they can't see at all. They're blind. So imagine you're blind and you can't see. What do you have to do? You have to depend on your smelling, your feeling, tasting your other senses, your other senses, right? Hearing. But are they really blind? Pretending to be blind? 7 Blind Mice by Ed Young. One day, 7 blind mice were surprised to find a strange something by their pond. "What is it?" they cried, and they all ran home. They sound curious. What is it? They don't know what this something is. On Monday, remember what we do if we've heard the story before, please. On Monday, Red Mouse went first to find out. Here's Red Mouse going first. Perspective, right? It's tiny. "It's a pillar," he said. No one believed him. So he comes back saying, "It's a pillar." And a pillar is part of like a column. It's a pillar. And we'll see that outside as we wait in our bathroom line at the restroom break. I'll make sure to point out what a pillar looks like. But his friends are saying, no. They're telling him he's wrong. Are they being respectful of his perspective? On Tuesday, who went next? Green Mouse set out. He was the second to go. "It's a snake," he said. What are the other mice going to say? "No," said Yellow Mouse on Wednesday. So Yellow Mouse goes third. "It's a spear." He was the third in turn. It's a spear, like a bow and arrow. Oh, that's an interesting observation. So he also noticed that the color matches the mouse. Once they name the object, that's a good observation. The fourth was Purple Mouse. He went on Thursday. What do you think he's gonna see? "It's a great cliff," he said. A cliff, like the edge of a mountain. Cliff. And again, like Adrian pointed out, it turned purple. Orange Mouse went on Friday, the 5th to go. "It's a fan," he said. He cried. "I felt it move." He felt the fan move.
Oh, wait,
The sixth to go was Blue Mouse. Thank you for setting that down. He went on Saturday and said, "It's nothing but a rope." So far, are they thinking the same thing about this object?
No.
Or are they seeing differently? They have a different perspective.
Yeah.
But the others didn't agree. They don't agree with the mice. They began to argue. A snake, a rope, a fan, a cliff, until on Sunday, White Mouse, the seventh mouse, went to the pond. What is he gonna do? When she came up upon the something, she ran up one side and she ran down the other and she ran across the top and from end to end. So she's really stopping to think about this whole object that she sees, not just one part of it. "Ah," said the White Mouse, "now I see that something is as sturdy as a pillar, supple as a snake, wide as a cliff, sharp as a spear, breezy as a fan, stringy as a rope, but altogether the something is an elephant." And when the other mice ran up one side and down the other, across the something from end to end, they agreed. Now they saw too. So here you have all the mice standing beside their object that they were describing.
That's a little.
Yeah, they're really small, aren't they? In comparison, the size, right? The mice are very tiny compared to the elephant. The moral, the mouse moral, knowing in part may make a fine tale, but wisdom comes from seeing the whole. So all of these mice saw this object, but they chose to look at a tiny part of the object until that white mouse looked at the whole object, right? Did they all have the same perspective of what this was? No. And what happened when they did not have the same perspective of the object? Stephanie, what happened?
They started
Arguing, right? Is that helping them to get along and problem solve? No. It doesn't help them to understand one another and get along well. So until that white mouse came along, what did the white mouse do? Ari?
Figure it out. He saw the whole thing and there was an elephant.
And did that help all of the mice understand their each perspective? And the mouse even agreed with all of them and said, "Yeah, I understand what you were saying, and that does look like a pillar and a snake and a fan," right? So he said, "Yeah, I agree with you now." But it took him stopping and thinking about the whole picture. So all these mice were given the same information, but they had a different perspective. So we are going to practice having a different perspective with your classmates right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull two sticks, and I'm going to have these two people come on up. And the rest of us are going to be like the mice. Okay? We're all going to be like the mice. We're going to pretend we're mice. And two people are going to come up, and they're going to share what they feel. They're going to describe what they feel. So kind of like blind mice, you're using your other senses to identify what does it feel like. So we have to use our senses. And then you all are going to try to guess what it is. Okay? Let's see. Derek and Yadisel, come on up. So what I need for the rest of you all to do, if you're sitting on the carpet, I need you to close your eyes. And I need you to come here. I'm going to put something in this box, and each of you are going to put your hands in there, okay? I appreciate Ari using self-control. Okay, you may open your eyes. What I have Derek and Yaditzel doing is they're each going to put their hand inside this rectangular prism, and they're going to observe what their sense of touch, right? Are they going to look at this? No, because, right, they're just going to feel like the blind mice. And then they're going to describe what they feel. You're not going to guess what you think it is yet. They're going to give three properties, right? And then I'm going to call on someone to share what they think it is, okay? So they might have different perspectives of what it feels like, and you might have a different perspective of what you think it is. Vanilla, I'm going to make sure you can see, so I'm going to ask you to go sit behind Emma and Gael. Thank you. Okay, you ready? Okay. We're going to take turns sharing, okay? Sharing and learning together. So who wants to go first?
Me.
Okay.
It has a head.
Okay, one clue. Thank you. It has a head. What do you think? Turn and talk to them. How could you describe it?
It's
What is it?
fluffy.
It's fluffy. Oh, so we heard that word earlier. Fluffy. Okay. One more clue. It is.
It is soft.
Okay, so it's soft and fluffy, and it has a head. Okay, if you would like to guess what you think this is, thank you for sitting up tall and straight. Adrian, what do you think this is?
A cotton ball.
Okay, Gael?
A doll.
A doll. Okay. Alessandra?
A teddy bear.
Okay. So again, do they have a different perspective of what this might be? Yes. Is that okay to have a different perspective? Yes. So you're given the same information, but you have a different perspective. Okay. Now share with us what it is. You can pull it out now. What is it? Okay. Does it have a head?
Yes.
Is it white? Sorry, white and fluffy was my clue earlier, right? Is it fluffy? Is it soft? Yeah. What are these? These are Bella and Rosie, right? I'm gonna put those at the back table, please. Okay. I know, you might have the book in your book box, Bella and Rosie, about Bella and Rosie. Yeah. Okay, hold on. We're gonna do two more, okay? We're gonna do two more and let some other people make a guess about what the object is. So I need the audience, if you're seated on the carpet, to close your eyes.
My dad always
Have you ever thought about what this looks like and feels like?
Yes.
Those are some great clues. So it has a stick and it has soft, fluffy ends. So those are some really good clues. But again, given the same information, we have different perspectives. Okay? And what I appreciate is that you were respectful of each other's perspectives. Thank you, Derek and Alice. Great job describing the object by using your sense of touch. So is it okay to have different perspectives? Yes. But we need to be respectful of each other's perspective. So when we talk about Emma's definition and background knowledge, it means to be aware of other people's what? Other people's perspectives. What is a perspective? Where did my marker go? Other people's ideas, right? Ideas and thoughts, right? I need to be respectful of what somebody else is thinking. I need to be respectful of other people's ideas. And that's what you just practiced. You practiced being respectful and aware of other people's ideas. So we've learned today that perspective, let's say that big word together. Perspective means to be aware of other people's ideas and thoughts. And while we're doing that, we're going to be respectful. And if we do that, we're going to learn how to problem solve. We're going to get along well, and we're going to cooperate with one another, right?